Welcome to Comic Power. I am your host, Comic Killer 72. Welcome to Wicked Wednesday, where we discuss all the new comics that's coming out this week. Every Wednesday is like Christmas for us nerds because that's when the new comics come out. These are my recommendations for the best books to pick up on Wednesday. But here's some other information first. Wicked Wednesday is not the only program I do. Go to my homepage and click on Playlist, and you'll see many different programs broken down in category. The top list, casting confirmations, Hollywood rumors, character study, comics for sale, and much, much more. When you click on a category, it will play all the videos in that category back to back nonstop. So you can just click on something and let it go. The month of May is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So look out for future programs that highlight Asian characters and Asian creators in comics. But for now, it's time for New Comic Day. And DC Comics is giving us Action Comics number 979. This is part one of a new story arc called Revenge. If you haven't been reading Action Comics, you've been missing a lot, as you can see by this cover. The Eradicator, Cyborg Superman, Metallo, and the Mongol unite to try to take down the Man of Steel. There is a cover B variant, but it's not even necessary this week because cover A is superior. Action Comics issue 1000 is just right around the corner, so you want to be paying attention to what's going on with the Man of Steel. This is leading up to something big. Next up is All-Star Batman number 10. This is the Scott Snyder version, where they just cut him loose and let him do whatever he wants to do with Batman. It retails for $5 instead of the regular $3 with Rebirth. If you like what Snyder did with the New 52 Batman, then you'll love this too. Next up is Suicide Squad number 17. It looks like Amanda Waller has done the unthinkable. She's made General Zod a full-fledged member of the Suicide Squad. The cover B version is awesome too. It's drawn by Will Spartorcio, who was one of the 7 Image Comics founders. So kneel before Zod. No, kneel before Amanda Waller. Okay, that's my bad joke for today. Moving on. Next up is Raven, which is going to trade paperback. This is a collection of issues 1 through 6 of this miniseries. It's a very interesting take on this character, best known from the Teen Titans. I gave it a spotlight every month that it came out because it's that good. DC might want to consider an ongoing title with this character in this version. Speaking of the Teen Titans, up next is Teen Titans Go! Ready for Action on trade paperback. This collects issues 19 through 25, which is based on the animated television show. That's why it looks so cartoony. It's intended to be that way to match the show's aesthetic. The Teen Titans is one of DC's most valuable properties, so I have no idea why they're not doing a television show or a movie on it. Maybe they got something up their sleeve they hadn't leaked yet. We'll see. Next up is Wonder Woman number 22, and her movie is just right around the corner. So everything that she touches is going to be hot again. And the hottest thing going for this character are the Jenny Frison cover B variants. It depicts Wonder Woman in a style that you never saw before, and it looks glorious. Jenny made my list of one of the top 10 female artists in comics. If you missed that video, go back to the playlist, click on top list. It was a video that was published on March 31st, 2017. Next up, let's see what Marvel is up to, and that's going to be all new Wolverine number 20. It's in the midst of a story arc called The Rise Against Time. Marvel is going to do the Legacy project later this year, so they're going to bring back all their original characters to the status quo. So expect to see Old Man Logan wearing his old yellow costume and headline the Wolverine title, and X-23 will have her own costume and she'll have her own title under her own name. There's other variants like this Chin variant, but I would go with cover A. It looks pretty awesome. Next up is the Amazing Spider-Man number 27. You got Alex Ross cover, only one cover and 9 gazillion variants, and it's the Spider-Man army versus the Goblin army. No complaints here, that sounds all good and worth your $3.99. Next up is America number 2, and this is the comic that's based on America Chavez. And this is a second print that's being released. I knew it would be a hit because it's giving homage to Beyonce's Formation video. To make sure you know the difference between the first print and the second print, the first print looks like this, and the second print looks like this. Got it? America number 3 first print also drops this week. I hope they find a permanent artist for this character so they can have a consistent look for her. Right now it's just all over the place. Next up is Steve Rogers, Captain America number 15, which is going to a second print, and that second print is a variant by Del Otto. Number 15 caught a lot of people by surprise because it's a tie-in to the Secret Empire storyline. Doing a second print variant with Del Otto is smart because he's one of the most in-demand variant cover artists out there. And Secret Empire is their summer crossover, so Marvel's going to give it all the hype in the world to make sure it succeeds. Next up is Rocket number 1. And of course, with Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2 in the theaters right now, Marvel is going to exploit that to the hilt to give you everything Guardians that you could ever want. The Rocket character does not work as a headline character in a comic, but they're going to give it to you anyway. I absolutely love the character, but he should be a supporting character only. Next up is Star Wars Screaming Citadel #1. This is Dr. Aphra's first meeting with Luke Skywalker. They spin her out of the Darth Vader title. Now she's meeting Luke for the first time. So Marvel, therefore Star Wars, therefore Disney is all in on this character. I've said it like 100 times. If you're not taking my advice, then you're just stupid. Pick up Darth Vader #3, the first appearance of Dr. Aphra. You can get a near mint raw copy for less than $20. When they put this character in a live action movie, that price is going to explode, so get it now. Next up is Secret Warriors #1, and this is a Secret Empire tie-in. It has S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, leading a team of Inhumans, including Miss Marvel, Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur, Karnak, and Inferno, in a battle versus Hydra. I'll try that out. Next up is Weapon X #3, and Domino is going to be a target of the Weapon X program as they try to reclaim assets. This founding X-Force member is hot again because she's going to appear in the live-action Deadpool sequel played by Zazie Beetz. All of that is good Marvel. Now let's talk about bad Marvel because they always jump the shark and do something crazy. And this week is Deadpool #30. It's an 80-page story that costs $10. Literally $10. About Deadpool on the moon having some strange adventure. I don't know. And yes, the marketing team must really be on drugs. Sometimes Marvel leaves me speechless. Not only do they give you a lot of crap, they expect you to pay big bucks for it. No, get that out of my face right now. Next up is our report on independent comics and small publishers. Alright, now back to some sanity. First up is Misfit City #1 of a 4-part miniseries from Boom Studios. It's a story of 4 bored teenage girls in a small town where nothing ever happens, until one day they stumble upon a centuries-old pirate map. This miniseries seems to be inspired by Goonies, a 1985 adventure comedy written by Steven Spielberg. As a matter of fact, there's a 1 in 25 variant that spoofs the Goonie poster. So if you like Goonies, you'll like Misfit City. Next up is Dragon Age Knight Errant #1 from Dark Horse Comics. This is based on the role-playing video game from BioWare, first released in 2009. There's only one cover, so there's no variant chasing. This looks pretty good. It's worth $4. Next up is Z Nation #2 from Dynamite Entertainment. This is a comic series that's based on the television show on the Sci-Fi Network. This take on the zombie genre has some intentional campiness and a little bit of comedy in it. The creators said they made it because The Walking Dead became too serious and too depressing, and they wanted to put some more fun back into the genre. Next up is The Eternal Warrior Awakening #1 from Valiant Comics. The Eternal Warrior is similar to Highlander in that he's an immortal. He will live forever and never die. He's been fighting for righteous causes for eons. He's another cool, underrated character from Valiant, but all of Valiant's characters are underrated. That cover A is by Clayton Crane, and that guy is just unbelievably talented. Next up is Faith on trade paperback Volume 3, Superstar. This collects issues 5 through 8 of her ongoing series. She's one of the most unique characters in comics, being that she's a heavyset female with her own title, and you just don't see that in comics, but now you have. It's a much lighter read. It's not dark, it's more humorous, but not silly. It's a very good book. Next up is the Speculation Pick of the Week. And that's going to be Medisin #1 from Action Lab. It's a story of some down-on-their-luck physicians that are recruited to be the healthcare providers for supervillains. Instead of the word medicine, it's spelled like Medisin, S-I-N. That's a very clever title, and I like the premise on this book. Written by Jeff Dyer and David Brame, this project was originally conceived on Kickstarter back in 2015, where the creative team raised nearly $6,400 from 90 different pledgers. So Action Lab acquired the rights to make this in print for the first time. If the execution on the interior is just as good as the premise, then you're going to have a hit comic that's going to be hard to find because the print run's probably going to be less than $5,000. I don't think you can go wrong on this one if you can get a copy and hopefully not have to pay a premium for it. Next up, and the runner-up for Speculation Pick of the Week, is Mindbender #1 from Scout Comics. This was supposed to come out May the 24th, but it looks like it's been moved up. All covers of this book pre-sale have been going for a premium. The premise is that a kid taps into his mind one day and releases an explosion that kills both of his parents. He survives, but he remains speechless. 16 years later, his powers manifest themselves to the whole world. His power set seems to be online with something like Divinity or Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen. Definitely one to look out for. This is on Scout Comics, the same people that gave us Hinch Girl. It looks like they're pretty hot this week because they're also releasing Solar Flare #2. I have information in the past that shows this is supposed to be released on May 24th, but this too seems to be pushed up. Check with your local comic shop to see if they got it. This is the story about what happens to the world when a solar flare shows up and actually wipes out all of our telecommunications. Every electrical gadget powered by electricity or satellite gone. That's a premise that's actually deep in science. It actually could happen. And we would go from the 21st century back to the Stone Age overnight. Once again, it's going to be a very thin print run, so good luck finding it. And if you do, it probably won't be cheap. Next up, let's see what Image is up to. And for their standards, it's actually a slow week. First up is Black Cloud #2. And #1 was a surprise hit in my opinion because I didn't think it looked that good to me. It's a story of a woman named Zelda from another dimension who tries to escape by coming to Earth. But based on the cover of issue #2, that isn't going so well, is it? Issue #1 is also being re-released in a second print shown here. It's written by Jason Latour, who's the artist on Southern Bastards and the creator and writer of Spider-Gwen. So his name recognition may be selling this book more than the book itself. Black Cloud is okay, but it's not great to me. What is great and is worth your time is The Fix. Issue #9 drops this week. It's the story of two corrupt cops in the Los Angeles area, written in a dark comedy style. Issue #9 is the start of a new story arc, by the way. It's the funniest thing I've read in comics personally in over 20 years, and I've been talking about this non-stop since it dropped in April of 2016. And I named The Fix #1 the top comic of 2016 overall. Next up is Regression #1 from Cullen Bunn, the master of horror. I don't know about you, but that cover is just nasty looking. It makes me go, ooh, yeah. There's a variant for it shown here, and that's probably even worse. Covers are a big part of what sells a comic, and this is a textbook example of how to unsell a comic. Next up, and a whole lot less nauseating, is Renato Jones Season 2 #1 of a 5-part miniseries. Renato Jones is like a Punisher for the upper 1%, the elite that exploits the lower classes. He was born into the elite, but circumstances early in his life makes him turn against them. Cal Andrews is writing, drawing, and coloring this. He's the one-man show. This is absolutely worth picking up. You know the drill. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, give it the thumbs up, and share these videos on social media so others learn about comic power. That's about it for today. Thank you for watching Wicked Wednesday, where I review all the new comic books for a new comic day. Be sure to follow my blog at comicpower.net. On social media, follow me at facebook.com/comicpower.net and comicpower-universe.tumblr.com. And don't forget twitter.com/comicpowersub. I also sell comics on eBay at this link. This is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye. And don't forget to share this video, click on subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and tell everyone you know about this channel to help it grow. Thank you for your support.